it's Kaya. I am going to do for you today a recommendations. We're going to call it Kaya Recommends. Ding! That would be a great place for a special effect. Ding! Insert sound here. Ding! Anyway. So today I'm talking about my books and movies that I've read and watched, and I'm going to recommend my favorites to you. Okay. Currently I am reading Terry Pratchett's The Last Continent. Terry Pratchett is a fantasy writer, and he writes very adult. Like, it's not dirty, but just the way he writes is hard to comprehend if you're not at a higher reading level. He's a very mature kind of author. His jokes are funny. He's very funny. He has moments of dark, so you'll be like, ha ha ha, Terry, oh, Terry, ha ha ha, Terry, oh, Terry. So, but most of his books, this is one of the Discworld series. There's like 1,000 of them, I swear to God. But his Discworld novels are generally pretty humorous. So if you're prone to spontaneous laughter while reading, these are an excellent book for you. Okay, what else am I reading? J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. I already managed to finish Fellowship of the Ring. These books are another really hard series. The words are very Old English, even though they were written in like the 60s. My biggest problem with them, though, is it's too predictable, because I've seen the movies and I scour over, everything. I love The Lord of the Rings, so even though I've seen the movies, and I read the books a long time ago, or my father read them to me, but the thing is when you know what's going to happen and you try to read the book anyway, it's really hard, because the movies really are really close to the storyline in the books. So I get sidetracked because I'm like, oh, well, I already know what's going to happen. This is stupid. Okay. Yeah, so that's the problem with that one. Next, for those people who have a less fantasy kind of reading genre, there is Memoirs of a Geisha. You've probably seen the movie. The book is fantastic. I cried. It's just such an amazing book. Just the whole storyline behind it, it's fantastic. Another great book that is not a movie yet I read was The Crush by Sandra Brown. It was a murder mystery, but it's a love story. It's more murder mystery than love story, but it's still really good. I really liked it because it was different than other murder mysteries. The main character is being stalked by a serial killer who's developed a crush on her, and she falls in love with the serial killer's arch nemesis, who happens to be a cop, and it's the nemesis, the two nemeses getting back at each other, the cop getting revenge, and Lozada, that's the serial killer, trying to off the girl, and the girl and the cop falling in love, and it's just this great triangle, and it's a really great book. For you who like more romance than murder mystery, we have Devil of the Highlands by Lynsay. Notice it's spelled funny. Lynsay. And this it's your generic love story. It's very forward. Like, it's got the same plot that all love stories have. They get together, she doesn't love him, or he doesn't love her, they fall in love, they have sex, there's a big problem, they break up, and they come back together, and everybody lives happily ever after. So it's like that, except for it has a great twist, because the murder mystery aspect is really a whodunit. It's a good whodunit, too. And I was very happy that the book itself wasn't as predictable as the 8,000 other romance novels that I've read. I like Lynsay. She writes very well, and she's easy to understand. I definitely recommend this book for those trying to avoid romance, but still looking for that lovey-dovey feeling. The last book I'm recommending is called A Million Little Pieces by James Frey. Unfortunately, I do not have a copy on me at this point in time. A Million Little Pieces is possibly one of the greatest books I've ever read. It's not written grammatically correct. It's There's no real punctuation. There's no quotation marks. There's no he said, she said, I said, they said. It's all just lines. So, say, and it's a true story. It's about James Frey and his time in rehab. It's horrible, because he ends up going to the rehabilitation center up in Minnesota, which is escaping me at the point in time. My uncle went to it, I know that. It's the greatest one in the world. It's the greatest rehab center with an 18%, I think, success rate. And that's the best. I mean, that's just horrible. 82% of all people who go to that rehab center relapse. But James Frey's character, James Frey, he writes about himself, does make it through the process without using the the AA steps. But it's a great book, and he did admit later to extrapolating. He did add on to it a little bit. It was embellished for creative purposes. If you read it, you'll understand when I say the bit with the dentistry. It made me sick, literally sick. Just imagining the whole scenario was disgusting and painful and mentally anguishing. One that I haven't read yet. This is my forward. Okay, now for all those watching, which is hopefully a lot, if you've read Push by Sapphire, that's the book that the movie Precious is based off of, I would like you to send me I would like you to comment or make a video response telling me if it's something I should read, because I watched Precious last night finally, and I really kind of want to read the book, but apparently the book is a lot harsher than the film, and the film was harsh. So I could use a little bit of feedback for that. Okay, now movies. My recommendations to you. Precious. Number 1 at this point in time. My number 1, it's horrible. It's not a chick flick, but it is more for girls. I cried hard. The actors deliver such a meaningful performance. It was fantastic. What else have I watched recently? As always, I push anything sci-fi. Terminator. I watched Terminator Judgment Day this weekend. I hadn't seen the second one, and it was awesome. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it. My top favorite movie to this day is still The Dark Knight. Because whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. You'll notice my Why So Serious poster in the background. I also have a t-shirt. My flashback movie that I recommend is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's an 80s film starring Keanu Reeves and some other dude who we never ever saw again in history because he wasn't as cute as Keanu Reeves. It's a really stupid humor thing, lots of metal references, like heavy metal, and a lot of that. They do air guitar. So this is me signing out and saying, be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!